Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. We're reviewing Companion today, and this one was such an interesting movie because there is comedic elements, meaningful elements, AI elements, or robotics really. There's sort of a bunch of stuff thrown in here, and I think blended all together, it made a really interesting, entertaining, cool movie. So, to give you guys sort of the premise, Jack Quaid's character, Josh, and his girlfriend, Iris, are meeting up with his friends for this sort of weekend retreat in this cabin that's actually a big house. And that's really the generic, that's the way you sum up the beginning of the movie, is just going to his friends and just hanging out. But there's so many things that go wrong, and the storyline keeps escalating from one thing to another, and that's what I think made this movie so interesting. So Iris is a robot. We know that from the trailers. We know that from the plot synopsis. But in this movie, it's sort of they take their time, sort of developing her character. So I thought that was really interesting because for the first, what feels like 25 minutes, you're just getting to know her, getting to know her relationship with Josh, and it's really cool because in the movie they don't really treat her like a robot at all. There are little bits and pieces here and there that make you go like, "Oh yeah, she is a robot. That's what that means, or that's what that does." But I think just her having some character development for just being this extremely likable character in the beginning really works for the plot that they end up going for toward the middle and then ultimately pushing toward the end. And so they're meeting their friends on this retreat. That's how you sum up the beginning of it. But then Josh, you find out that he also sort of uh, changes her settings. We get the storyline where he can sort of hack in and change some of the settings that the company that made the robots don't allow people to have access to. And so she has more aggression and sorts of these things that get her to be violently defensive. So of course there's this guy that's trying to flirt with her who he knows she's a robot, and he just assumes, well, that's what they're there for. And so as he's sort of trying to force himself on her, he ends up getting killed by her, which isn't supposed to happen by the company as far as they're concerned. But Josh has changed her settings to where she does end up killing him. And as we learn more about the plot, we find out that Josh and his friend Kat actually wanted to use her to kill him so they can take his money. So, of course, his other friend there was just supposed to corroborate the story, but he and his boyfriend end up getting dragged in, who you find out is a robot as well, which is another plot twist. And as the story is pushing, the plan is he's supposed to just shut her down, let her take the fall for the kill, and move on. But he wants to say goodbye, and he's explained to her that she's a robot, and that their relationship was never real, and it's all programming, and it's overwhelming her. And when Josh has to walk away for a moment, Iris gets the idea that she's going to cut herself free and take Josh's phone because that controls all of her settings. And so when she does that, she takes off into the woods. It's this sort of remote area, so there's a lot of wood area. And the plot then becomes catch Iris before the company does, basically. And so we get more kills. It gets a little bloody, gets violent, where these characters are going after her, but she's also increasing her intelligence and just using all of the app's features to sort of help herself try to go home, basically, and get away. And so when it comes to her trying to use the Tesla to drive away by using Voice Connect and using the phone settings to change her voice to Josh's to make the Tesla do what she wants. It's just the cleverness of how technology is used in this movie is what I found so fascinating. The writers for the script just sort of incorporating all those different things I thought was just really cool, and like I said, I thought it was cleverly done. It just felt subtle, it felt seamless, and it blended right in with the story. And so there's a little bit of back and forth where she gets away, they catch her again, they bring her back, and all while this is happening, some of his friends have died at this point. And he eventually uses Patrick, the second robot in this movie, to sort of go get her back. And he does, and this is where you see Josh being just this is where he's at his cruelest. Is he's basically turning Iris's intelligence all the way down to zero, setting her on fire just to see if she can feel any pain, and he's getting ready for the company to show up. Empathics is the company, and he's waiting for them to show up, take her, and he has Iris shoot herself in the head. So he's just a very twisted character for this movie. And by the time Empathics gets there, they tell him, oh, well, actually, everything's recorded, and audio's recorded, video's recorded, and all the important stuff isn't in the head. So Iris is going to be perfectly fine. So Josh's now new companion robot, Patrick, he's sent yet again to go get Iris and bring her back. But Iris sort of helps him remember his boyfriend, basically, and he's remembering from before Josh reset him and switched him to do his bidding, basically. And so he ends up sort of trying to kill himself. So he goes out into blaze of glory, being himself, I guess. So he's now written out. And Iris now has this final showdown with Josh, where we find out Empathics, the employee that she saved, gave her complete control of herself completely. And so now she's having this last showdown with Josh. And ultimately, Josh ends up being killed by her. So we finally get this great moment where she's now succeeded, she's survived, she's thrived, she gets all the money now, which is just, I thought, just icing on the cake for the story. And she drives away herself scot-free. And so I really love the movie because I think there's two different sides you can view the overall plot. You can see this as a woman trying to break free from her man's control, or if you view it as she is just a robot, then you view it as the dangers of AI, basically, where she's connecting with the different apps and technologies to sort of take over and kill the humans. And so I think there's two very polar opposite sides you can view this. Seeing her break free from his control, because she doesn't look like a robot in this movie. The only time she looks like a robot is when she's asleep and her eyes are white, and you can see her metallic hand toward the end. But other than that, I thought it was really interesting because other movies that sort of show robotics, humanoid, they look like robots. But this movie didn't. Sophie Thatcher plays Iris, and she didn't have any, like, different stuff to her outfit or anything that made her look like a robot. So I think you were able to connect with her on a human level because of that, which I think gives you those two different sides of how you can look at it. So I thought that was really interesting. There's different messages you can get for this movie. It was kind of horror. It's hard to say. I don't know if I consider it horror completely. I guess it was violent enough and bloody enough and enough swearing, but I wouldn't compare it to horror classics as far as the tone or the vibes. But it is violent. It is a little comedic with how things happen. So overall, it was just a solid, entertaining movie with a couple different messages you can take from it, all while having some great acting. I thought a great script, and just great visuals for the movie as well, with here overseeing the lake and just the woods. I thought the cinematography was pretty good. So I like this movie a lot. Still in theaters. You guys should check it out if you have an interest in it. Let me know what you think. Thank you guys for watching this video. Keep it digging. I'll see everyone next time.